Hi everybody. Remember last Sunday we were talking about things you can do to get ready for rug school, and I had suggested that you make yourself a little sample of, just a small amount of wool that in this case it's 1/16 of a yard, and what it looks hooked up in the cut that you're going to use in your project. And it's really helpful if you can cut around this so that you don't have all this excess. Now, I use this for another reason, and so it's okay for me to have this. But I'm going to show you how I would finish it on these little hooking angels that I have here. So I also use it to finish pins. So I've attached some wool to the fabric backing to see how close I can cut up to it. So it's really good. The reason this is faded like this is because I re-dyed it after I hooked it and I didn't want to get too close. Anyway, let's carry on. So the first thing you want to do is have some silicone. I get waterproof. It doesn't really matter. I always get clear, and I get it in this little thing rather than that big giant squeeze thing. What's that thing called, camera guy?
Caulking tube.
A caulking tube, because I really don't need that much of it. And it's a little more expensive in here, but how much of it do you need? Alright, so I've cut the tip off already, and I turn over my work, and this little tab here is actually this, so I want to make sure that it's pointing down. And I take the silicone and just squeeze it out. And you can see I'm going over both things. I'm going over my backing, and I'm going over my hooking too. So I'll do this around the whole thing very quickly, and I also make sure that I get a big bunch on here and under here so that sticks the way I want it to. If you have trouble with your hands and you can't squeeze tightly, you can make a bigger hole, but you could also get someone to help you. So I'm just kind of squirting it out any which way, and then I'm going to get in there with my hands and spread it around, because like I said, I like it to be about 1 inch wide. So you can see what happens when I take my finger and I spread it along. It's going well into my hooking and well into my backing, and make sure you get up into these little crevices so that everything's getting silicone on it. And for a good wide margin too. Now, prior to making this goopy mess, you want to make sure that you get a piece of backing that you can use. I need a little more here, so I stole some from up there. And I usually like to use wool because I'm a bit of a purist. But you could use anything. You could use cotton or some heavier cotton duck. Whatever it is that you have around that you want to use. Okay, so now this is on my hands, and I really don't want it anywhere else, so I'm going to make sure that I get it all off my fingers before I go ahead and put this piece of fabric down. And I want to make sure that I'm covering all of my angel. And I go around the edge like this and just make sure that I'm getting it right in there. And now this sits to dry with a weight on it overnight. And I also go from this end too and just kind of rub back and forth like I'm burnishing it. I'm just making sure that this is sticking where I want it stuck. If you find that you've missed some places the first couple of times you've done this, don't worry about it. Even after it's dry, you can still peel it back a little bit and give it another go. Okay. Now I'm going to get some scissors because I've already prepared this one. It has its fabric stuck to the back. It's dry. And all I do is cut in, and I can cut right up to it so that you can't even see where I've cut it out. And I've made many a thing like this, and one reason I like it better than glue is because it doesn't make it stiff. Now, if stiffness is what you require, then by all means use white glue. But this way, if somebody accidentally takes their brooch and puts it into the wash, I know that it's going to survive because I've used the waterproof silicone. Sorry, camera guy. So I just cut around all the edges. Is it too hard to see? like that, very close. And you can see how close I've come to it. From the front you can't even see any backing at all. Alright? That's all I have to say.